Ja, hallo, Michael Adams für Stock-Telegraph von der PDAC 2016 in Toronto. Und ich habe wieder mal die Freude, mit Jim McKenzie von Ucore zu sprechen. Ucore hat ja letztes Jahr eigentlich die PDAC gerockt, ja, mit 2 super News-Releases. Und auch dieses Mal habe ich ja darauf spekuliert, dass bei Ucore wirklich gute News rauskommen. Und ja, ich bin nicht enttäuscht worden von Jim und Ucore. Und da würde ich jetzt gerne noch ein paar Informationen zu bekommen. Und Jim, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
My pleasure, Michael, as always.
To me, it's always... I'm really looking forward to our interviews, and the reason is that you are so motivated, you're so into your thing, right? You're so convincing, right? So I really like it. It's almost like talking to Steve Jobs, right? So,
there you go.
Like you have a vision, right?
I appreciate
that.
And
I was just telling in my German introduction that last year you rocked PDAC with 2 exciting, outstanding news releases.
That's right.
And today, and then this time I was speculating about another one, and hey, you delivered. So,
indeed,
yeah. So tell me, what happened?
This year we delivered the pilot phase construction of our pilot plant. So last year at this time we delivered the bench scale proof of concept.
Right.
Over the last 12 months we've been busying ourselves to design the pilot plant and deliver that. So the pilot plant for our rare earth separation technology is complete, and we're heading into trial tests with that pilot plant. So it's an exciting time. Next few weeks we're looking to run PLS through that facility.
Okay.
And PLS we hope and we fully expect, and I can almost guarantee we'll deliver high purity rare earths at pilot scale. And over the next 12 months...
Will this be like the same 99 point, whatever the number was?
Absolutely. At least 99% purity and onwards and upwards. For dysprosium, we're looking for 4 nines purity, which is dysprosium is one of our key or headline type products, and we want to deliver the highest purity that we can for our prospective customers.
Right, okay. And I was chatting to Ken at the Vancouver show in January, and he was talking also about applying this technology to lithium, which right now is really a hot commodity. This Tesla Gigafactory thing, and a lot of new lithium companies are at least they think they're lithium companies are coming onto the market. So is this also good for lithium?
Yes, and the IBC technology Super League is sort of the gift that keeps giving. We have our format put together for rare earths as we speak, which is obviously the 15 lanthanides, and above and beyond that, we have ligands on the shelf that we can avail ourselves of for lithium, for scandium, for cobalt, for tungsten, for titanium, and a wide range of other metals. So it's I liken it to BlackBerry or Northern Telecom in the sense that there's a great deal of hidden IP here that's on the shelf that we can avail ourselves of. So rare earths are but the first step in what we're trying to accomplish, and the horizon is very broad. You asked about lithium. Lithium is a very hot commodity right now. We have a bulletproof ligand on the shelf for lithium.
Okay.
Very much proven. Just needs to be deployed. We're in the early stages of vetting who our partners will be for the lithium space, and we're going to act on that fairly quickly.
Okay, cool. And let's say moving forward into the future, let's say 5 or 10 years. So how do you see this technology changing the industry, and how will it be applied? It's not that you have like your one facility and like worldwide everybody's giving you the material and your processes. So what's the, and that's what I'm saying about the vision. So what's your vision about in 5 or 10 years?
The vision is, and I've talked about this a fair amount recently, it's a hub and spoke type model. So IBC and Ucore essentially are becoming the same entity to a certain extent for purposes of tailings remediation and for the rare earths. So that's the hub. The spokes are essentially rare earths would be one of those spokes, and that's the Ucore model. Another spoke would be the lithium model, a lithium co. A third spoke would be a scandium co, and so forth. So our vision is over the next few years, and I'm not talking about a very distant future. We're going to start on this right away. Is to license the technology. So it's essentially a franchise concept, and I'm not sure if that conveys the right image. But if you think of a franchise concept, essentially there's a franchise fee or a license fee up front. There's a fee for facilities, which would be our plant, and there'd be an ongoing royalty fee. In our case, would be a tolling fee for the deployment of the technology. So essentially, if we plant this technology within the lithium space, a lithium provider would be able to decrease their capex by a good measure. and I would say order of magnitude. And so that increases the PEA for the lithium producer, improves the PEA, improves the IRR, improves the NPV, and so forth. And the discounted rate or the return is very high at the end of the day. So the idea is to license the technology, plant the seeds and the various adjuncts to the industry, being these various metals, and to reap the rewards without having to do a lot of heavy lifting at the end of the day.
But you, at the end, this legends, which is like kind of the core, that's what you have to provide. Nobody else will will be able to produce this legends. So this is kind of a model like Hewlett Packard producing the printers, and that's which is like the facility.
We talked about that.
But then over time, they have to pay more and more for these.
It's an interesting concept. I know someone has drawn that analogy. That essentially, if you have a printer, the printer goes out at a fairly reasonable cost, and you make your money on replenishment of the ink.
Right.
And so the plant facility,
is the ligands, right?
Which is the ligands. They're the ligands, and the superlig. So effectively, we want the plant facilities to be very affordable. We think they're going to be a great deal less expensive than facilities that you would pay for in the solvent extraction business. In other words, we're very competitive for CapEx. That's our printer. The ligands, the superlig, is our replenishment of the printing cartridges and the fluids and the inks and so forth. You can make a pretty good margin on that. Yep. So if you make the barrier to entry fairly low for someone to get into processing with our technology, you can make very good dollars on the ongoing upkeep and replenishment of the superligs, which, as you said, is like printer cartridges.
No, I really like this. I like the vision. I like the model. But that's the technology. Now we also have to talk about the project, which could stand on its own, without any problem. So what are you doing on the project right now? What are the latest developments? What's planned on the project?
Talking about the Bowcan project?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. The Bowcan remains the #1 heavy rare earth deposit on U.S. soil. It's the most enriched heavy rare earth deposit, the highest grade heavy rare earth deposit, and relative to the 3 or 4 deposits on U.S. soil that are advanced, including Bear Lodge and Mountain Pass, we are absolutely de facto most advanced heavy rare earth deposit on U.S. soil. So that remains an established fact. We continue to advance that project. We're in the permitting stage with Bowcan. We are continuing to do our environmental testing and so forth throughout the summer months, and our overall objective is to move Bowcan to production as soon as feasible.
Okay. So there will be, towards the end of the year or throughout the whole year, there will be a constant news flow either from the technology side or the project side. Yeah,
the thing is, and this is a great phrase that was introduced to me recently, is the idea that our Ucore is becoming increasingly deposit agnostic, to the sense that, yes, we have the Bowcan deposit. It's a stellar deposit. It's within the top 3 or 4 deposits in the world. But the rare earth space right now is competitive enough that if you want to essentially take on the Chinese, you have to find ways and means to get feedstock that might be less expensive than in situ resources. So what I mean by that is to go after feedstock that is sort of an ancillary byproduct of process flows. So if you're producing petroleum products or fly ash or various other phosphates and so forth, various other feedstocks, we can peel off the rare earths from that existing process flow. Okay. Another application maybe is tailings. So tailings are pre-existing materials. Obviously, they're pre-mined materials. They're sitting in tailings containment facilities, or TMFs, tailings management facilities. We can access those facilities as well to get product that's a lot less expensive than if you went out and mined the stuff from the ground out. And if you look at China, northern China and the Mongolian area, Baotou and Bainobu and so forth, that mine there is essentially an iron ore mine in which rare earths are an ancillary byproduct. Okay. So they don't really have a cost of mining associated with rare earths there. So if you want to take on the Chinese at this point in the history of rare earths, you have to be going after, we think, tailings, process flow, and so forth. Right. And in situ is still on the horizon. And again, there's some stellar facilities in the world in situ that you can avail yourself of for mining. Many of those facilities are available now at pennies on the dollar, and we're very much looking at that. So we're in a catbird seat to a certain extent right now. We're well cashed, as you may know. We've made recent announcements. Yep. We have good cash on hand when others are failing to do so.
Right.
We're raising money.
Actually, one of your main investors just increased his stake, and I think he topped it to 11.5 million. Canadian,
that's right, Canadian.
Right?
It's just a stellar amount. That doesn't include our other major high net worth investor. This particular investor you're speaking of is a foreign investment fund out of Germany, CCM, Concept Capital Management.
Right.
They are a phenomenal long-term holder of our shares. They've gone very long on the vision. They understand where we're going with the hub and spoke model. Yep. And since December, 3 short months ago, they put 11.5 million Canadian into the company, and that's exclusive of the monies that are coming out of the U.S. from high net worth individuals. So the smart money, if you will, is backing us in a major way.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear. And so I'm really looking very, very positive. I really love following that story because it's kind of a unique story. Even, you are here, you're at PDAC, which is a mining show, but you could be at a tech conference, right, with your technology. So, but maybe my last question would be, you mentioned the tailings because you could produce for less cost. So there's a lot of tailings from the oil sands. Is this something which you are considering?
Yeah, oil sands, as I mentioned before, fly ash. There's feed from phosphate facilities. So there's a number of different applications around the globe that have resident rare earths within their process flow.
Right.
And the reason why we're so unique is that our technology, I think, is, if not the only technology, one of the few in the world that can unlock that inherent value. So you have rare earths locked in the process flow of the petroleum industry and various others. Right. We can go in and selectively grab those rare earths without a heck of a lot of expense. You're tapping in sort of an appendage to a very large processing facility. Ours would be a small appendage to that. Would siphon off the rare earths, no foul, no harm sort of thing, and fairly efficiently we can get our access to those materials that are very high value.
Okay. And are you already in, let's say, more advanced talks to some of these guys that have the tailings?
Yeah, I can't comment on that, but I can.
You can say yes. You don't have to say the names, but you can say yes or no.
Well, obviously we're pursuing these things, and I can't get too specific as to the advancement of those talks, but I can tell you that the demand is extremely good. For the products, the CAGR, or the combined annual growth rate of magnet material demand, is 7% year over year for the next 5 years and beyond. We just commissioned a report from Adamus Research that affirms that. So the demand is very high. We know that mining facilities that have process flow or petroleum facilities or fly ash facilities and so forth, everybody right now is looking for a way to extract extra dollars from their operations. So there's extremely high interest in advancing what you would call really a contribution margin that you can get essentially from not putting any other facilities in. We would pay for the facilities. We would come in, we would grab the rare earths from a pre-existing flow or pre-existing tailings resource, and we would pay a very large percentage of the proceeds to the owner of that facility. So there's no risk associated with it for them. It's very, very quick and efficient, and it gets material on the market, in a matter of months as opposed to years.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much for the update, Jim. Again, also ich bin echt begeistert. Ja, ich habe ja die Ucore, glaube ich, vor 2 Jahren das erste Mal empfohlen. Ja, damals war es nur in Anführungszeichen das Bowcan-Projekt in Alaska. Selbst das Projekt ist super. Ja, wir haben 145 Millionen Commitment from the State of Alaska, ja, um die zu finanzieren. Wir haben auch das hätte eigentlich schon ein Company Maker sein können. Und dann kommen die Jungs noch und haben halt jetzt noch diese MRT-Technology. Ja, also ich weiß im Moment wirklich nicht, was man da groß kritisieren kann. Ja, und man hat mit dem Jim wirklich einen Steuermann gefunden, der eine Vision hat, der seine Sachen umsetzen möchte und der da auch wirklich fast 24 Stunden am Tag für arbeitet. Also, wenn Sie die Ucore schon haben, dann auf jeden Fall behalten. Wenn Sie sie zu teuer eingekauft haben, ich glaube, wir waren mal so knapp an den 50 kanadischen Cent dran, versuchen Sie sie ein bisschen zu verbilligen. Und wenn Sie noch gar keine haben, ja, Schande über Sie, dann direkt anschauen, Ihr eigenes Research starten und dann überlegen, ob das nicht ein Investment für Sie ist. In diesem Sinne, vielen Dank fürs Zuhören von der PDAC.